Welcome to Kondashura Design. We are going to make some wood firecrackers today. This is a really fun activity for parents to do with kids, grandparents to do with their grandchildren. It's easy and doesn't take very long to do. So here's a picture of some of the supplies that we will be using today. For a full list of the supplies, please look in the description. We'll have it all listed right there for you. So to begin with, we're going to put holes in our wood pieces for our firecrackers. So my daughter really likes to work with wood, and she's really good at it. So she's going to take this over for a few and show you how to drill these holes. And then we'll continue on with this craft and show you how easy it is and fun.
All right, hi everyone. So I'm going to walk you through how you are going to be drilling holes into the top of our wood pieces for your firecracker. So what you're going to need is, I'm going to show you how to do this with 3 drill bits. One is really small, and then we just work up to our desired size of our hole here. And pretty much what that is that's called a pilot hole. So we're going to try to get a hole in the center of the top of our wood pieces, as center as we can get it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And we're going to drill a hole with this small one. And then from there, just to help the drill bit to work through the wood better, that's when we're going to take the medium drill bit to it, and then the large one to get our desired hole. Now I'm going to be doing this with a electric drill. If you don't have one, you could definitely do it by hand. It will probably take you a little bit longer, but that's always an option if you don't have an electric drill easily accessible for you. Now, one thing that I want you to know when we get into this is that you're going to want to make sure that you hold on tightly to your project pieces so they don't move while you are drilling that. So I went ahead and I put our small drill bit on here, and I just want you to kind of see how I grip these pieces. And we're going to start with the circle here, because while it might seem like it's the hardest one, for me it's actually the easiest because I can kind of see the center. And my hand grips it very well. So as you can see, I'm kind of just gripping it in between my thumb and my index finger, and now we're just going to go ahead and we're going to drill that hole. Now the goal is not to go too far down or to go all the way through, because for these wood pieces in particular, there is a hole on the other side. So that's kind of the goal, but don't worry if you accidentally do something like that, it's okay. And then from there, again, we're just going to work up to our biggest drill bit. Now, another thing that I want you to keep in mind as you drill your hole is that you probably noticed that I have some blue tape on the edge of the largest drill bit, and that's just to kind of help give a guide for when I go too far. I actually stopped drilling before that point, but that's just kind of there to help me remember. Now, the other thing about the biggest drill bit, that's the one where you're really going to want to make sure that you're holding on tightly, because with the largest drill bit in particular, that's where it really kind of grips at the wood. And one other thing that's kind of a pro tip for drilling that biggest hole is that you're going to feel when you stop and you've reached kind of the end of your pilot hole, it will require a lot more force to go through the wood once you've hit that kind of end marker. So if it doesn't seem like it's going down anymore with the pressure you're applying, then you know that you've probably made it far enough down and that it's time to stop. All right, so now here we have the hole for our round firecracker, and it kind of goes down a little ways, and that will be good for our decorations on the top. And so now we're just going to do the same thing again with the kind of barrel-shaped wood. And so you're just going to start with the smallest drill bit and work your way up. Try to get it as center as possible and just kind of go from there. So another pro tip while you are doing this is just to kind of knock off all the sawdust and make sure that you clean it up afterward. The other advice that I can give you in terms of when you drill into wood is that you don't want to do it on a table surface. You're going to want something more sturdy like a floor or maybe just a sturdy tabletop. So don't do it on, like, if you find yourself crafting on a glass table, don't drill on top of that because you could use too much pressure and you could break it. So if you have a very steady tabletop, you can use that if you'd like, but I'm just doing this here kind of on the floor. And then once again, just make sure that when you are done, go ahead and clean up that sawdust. All right, and so here you can see that we now have completed the hole for our little barrel cylindrical wood piece as well as our circular one. And so we're ready to move on to the next step, so I will hand it back over to Mom.
Now that you have the holes drilled into the wood, you're going to want to sand them down a little bit. So I just take a little block sander and I just give it a little bit of a sanding. And I also like to sand the holes, so I have these little sanding tools, and then I can just kind of get the tops and the bottom a little bit sanded. All right, and that is all for the sanding. Once you are done sanding, I like to just wipe them down a little bit with a damp cloth, just to get the sawdust off. So now we're going to start painting. I like to put the first coat with the chalk paint. I have red, white, and blue. So I'm going to put a little bit in each of these little containers. All right, and then we're just gonna start painting. One thing that I do like to do is I like to put, for these, a ballpoint pen and just have it hold that so it's a little bit easier to paint. And then we're just gonna paint these. Does move around, so you'll have to kind of get a little paint on you to hold it still. Put that there. While I'm using red, I'm also going to paint my barrel. You might have to do 2 coats. We'll see once it dries. I'm just going to put it down and do the top. And now I'm going to do the same for these with the white and the blue. Alrighty, so I painted those balls. I also gave them 2 coats of paint. They really needed the 2 coats to make them look really good. And now we're going to draw the faces on our little firecracker balls. So I'm going to start with the white one. You can do any kind of face that you want. This is just the fun part, doing whatever you want. So on this one, I think I'm just using a pencil and I'm drawing the face on these. And what's nice is, you know me, these are firecrackers. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just make it fun and have fun doing it. So I think I like that. Let's do the blue one. This one will be harder to see with the pencil. So I'm going to get A little closer. I'm going to do eyes. And here again, you probably won't be able to see this, but when we start painting the eyes, you'll be able to see it. It was just kind of a guide, and then we've got to paint them on. Okay, and the red. And let's do our TNT. I'm going to put TNT on that side, and then on the other side, I'm going to put a face. Now that we have that done, we're going to paint them so they will give it a little more pop. So I'm going to paint the eyes white, and then that might be all that I'll do on this one. We'll see how that goes. So with this, I'm going to use my acrylic paints a little bit. Won't need much. And I'm going to use a fine tip paintbrush. And I'm going to just paint where I want the eyes to be. Now I did draw the eyes on a piece of paper that I wanted to use, and that will be my guide as I do this. And we'll let that dry. So this is what I mean. I kind of drew them out so I know what to do. This one just wants to keep rolling. Okay, that already has the white. Do the blue with the white. I'm going to do the mouth probably red, so I'm going to leave that just like that. And also our TNT. Okay, now I'm going to let these dry. I will be doing another coat on these just to make sure that the white really pops. But while we are waiting for that to dry, we can cut our little firework fire things that are going to go in the top. All right, so I just got this cute little garland of stars, and I'm just going to cut where the color changes. I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to cut again because I think those will give it a nice length. So I'm just going to keep doing that, get all those colors, and I'm going to do this 4 times. So do red, white, and blue, and do that 4 times. So you have red, white, and blue for each one of your firecrackers. So while I'm still waiting for the paint to dry, I am taking some of these stars off the bottom of our garland so it's ready to be put into the holes. So just snip some of those bottom ones off. It will just make it easier to get them in. I got the stars all ready for our firecrackers. I think the paint is dry enough now, so we're going to go ahead and continue with our faces. I'm going to start with the blue one, and I'm going to put some black on here. Now, you can use a Sharpie. So if you have little ones, You could let them use the Sharpie to do the dark parts of the face. I'll probably use the Sharpie on some of them, but I'm also going to use some black paint. And this has a thing on it, so hold on. Okay, so while I was getting that off the black paint, I thought, well, you know what? I actually think I want the pupils to be a dark blue. So I grabbed my blue. I still opened the black because we are going to use that, but I want the pupils to be dark blue. So I'm going to take my really fine paintbrush again, and I'm going to put these eyes on. So each one of them, I decided to do the blue pupil, even on the TNT. And I like that. I like the blue. All right, so now we are done with the pupils. And I think we will work on the mouths. With the blue one, I am actually going to use some red paint for that one, for the mouth. I'm going to take this one, take my tip. And I am using acrylic paint for doing the faces. All right. Now with the others, I am going to use, I'm going to just try to use the black Sharpie on those. So let's take white and just use the Sharpie. And this is a very fine point Sharpie that I'm using. I'm also going to do the eyebrows. You can also give your little firecrackers eyelashes if you'd like. You can also give them a nose. Whatever fits your firecrackers' personalities. Okay, that worked pretty good. I'm going to go around the eyes with black. I just really want to make sure that paint is dry before I do that. And don't forget, we've got to do the TNT on this side. Now, one thing I've noticed doing these, with the Sharpies, they do write pretty easily on the chalk paint. If you use acrylic, it is a little more difficult to get the Sharpie to work on it. So just keep that in mind. With the blue firecracker, I am going to use acrylic black paint, as it will show up, I think, better. But you can just use Sharpie too. All right, now I did go over the eyebrows and the mouth a couple of times with a Sharpie. Now we're going to trace those eyes. On the blue, we need to do the eyes and the mouth. And I'm just using Sharpie again. But you can use black acrylic paint if you'd like. I have a piece of paper here just to get my Sharpie going again, just in case it does get a little caked up from the paint. So I'm going to go ahead and do these, and I will be back. Okay, I just love how tracing makes the faces just come to life. It's amazing. And while I was doing it, I thought, you know what, maybe we'll put a little gold paint on them, kind of like firecrackers on their little faces. So what I do is I take a kind of a stiff brush, put a little gold paint on it, and I'm just gonna go like this on a piece of paper, and then I'm just gonna give them just a few little all around little specks. Just wherever you think will look good for yours. I think it just gives it a little more personality, and it's getting that gold in there a little bit. So I was just thinking about the barrel, and I think I'm going to put some of this gold paint around those, the bottom and the top. All right, now we need to let that dry for a few minutes. Time to gloss. Now, before we gloss, if you want, you can put the name of your child here at the bottom and date it. But I would recommend doing it before we gloss, so that will always be there as well. I'm going to put them back on, the ballpoint pens, and I have my Deco Art Duraclear matte varnish that I'm going to use for this. And I'm going to use a paintbrush, and I am going to hold it at the top so it doesn't spin around, and then I'm just going to put the gloss on. I will just be doing one coat of gloss. You can do more if you feel it's necessary, but for me, I'm just going to do one. I'm going to put it in this jar to dry. Doesn't take very long for this to dry. All right, and then the rest of your gloss, go ahead and put it back into your bottle. And then we need to wait for this to dry for a few. While I was waiting for the gloss to dry, I plugged in my hot glue gun, and we are ready to put our sparkler garland on. If you are doing this with a child, please know that an adult should be the one using the hot glue gun, so the little ones don't get burned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of our firecrackers, and I am going to place my garland pieces into the little hole that is at the top. Just like so. And I'm going to rearrange them the way I would like it to look. And I can do this after I do the hot glue as well. Okay, I like it like that, and I'm going to take the glue gun and I'm just going to put a little dab of glue around it so it will stick. And I'm going to take a little end of the paintbrush, kind of move it around a little bit. Okay, then once that's dry, I'm going to rearrange these where I like it. Now I did try something a little different too. I wrapped some floral tape around a set. So it's still, again, you'll probably need to help your little ones do this. It was a little frustrating because it kept coming out. But if you do this, then they can just come and put it right inside and it will hold it really well. So that is another option. So you're not using a hot glue gun. And then that one is done just like that. If you feel like this is too big, go ahead and you can cut it. Okay, on the barrel, I am going to cut some of these down a little bit. I'm just going to take my scissors. I'm going to cut it down. Some of them, not all of them, just some. Twist them a little bit. And there you go. A really fun and simple craft for any age group. I hope you've enjoyed this today, and I look forward to having you come back next time.